Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us at 7. I'm Tracey McCain.
I'm Caitlin Nuclo. You're watching Eyewitness News here on the Wax, and we do have a lot to talk about, including this.
I know.
What a beautiful start to the day. Let's get right out to Scot Haney, who's over there tracking those temperatures for us. Really cold in some spots.
Yeah, we got a cluster of 30s in parts of southeast and northeast Connecticut this morning. 35 in Norwich, 39 in Willimantic. Hi, everybody. Good morning. It is 7 o'clock straight up, and we are talking about some chilly temperatures, even 39 in Salisbury. Now, the typical overnight low is about 47, so we are below that. We're pretty similar to where we were yesterday. You'll notice we're up, we're down. Look at Waterbury and Meriden, though, 4 to 5 degrees cooler than yesterday, and yesterday was a pretty cool start. But we're up at Brainerd by a degree, 2 at Bradley. So some towns are up, some towns are down. We're basically flat. Here are the dew points. We've got dry air out there for you. Dew point temperatures are in the upper 30s and low 40s. And as we take a look at the dew point trend, it is our friend until Wednesday, when we are dealing with some showers that are going to be passing through the state on Wednesday. That is our next chance for some precipitation. The wind speeds are calm this morning, which is such good news. Futurecast, it's the big H. It is dominating the forecast for days. Look at this. I just ran the clock down through 1 p.m. It goes nowhere, centered right over Connecticut, and that means abundant sunny skies. Temperatures today top out in the low 70s. You won't need the jacket later this afternoon, and you certainly won't need it this weekend, with temperatures moving into the 80s. From ordinary to extraordinary, Kate Francis.
Well, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay, thanks. Unfortunately, what's not great here this morning, a couple of crashes across the state that we're following here. First alert here in Meriden, Route 66 eastbound. Right before exit 1, we do have a couple lanes blocked off here. So traffic getting by in that far left-hand lane. It looks like we got an overturned vehicle off to the side in the grassy area here this morning. Also dealing with a crash. DOT telling us this is involving a tractor trailer in Stamford, 95 southbound between exit 7 and 6. We've got the right lane closed, but unfortunately, look at this. The damage is done. It's really difficult to see, but these are all brake lights here through Stamford this morning. So we've got really heavy delays through this stretch as traffic's trying to merge to get around that incident. We're also dealing with some reduced visibility. You can see that in Stamford. You can see that here in Montville and in Old Saybrook. This is right by the Route 9 connector, 95 north and southbound there. So as you're heading out the door, we do have some delays into Hartford and then down through Fairfield County. Take your time as you are heading out. Let's quick check at your Connecticut Chevy First Alert traffic report, driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
Well, right now we're working to learn more about a crash near the Stop and Shop on New Park Avenue in Hartford. Police say a man in his 40s was critically hurt. It happened about 6 o'clock last night, and video here shows the car and the motorcycle both had significant damage. Well, crews had their hands full putting out a fire in the capital city. It broke out last night at a home on Madison Avenue in the Parkville neighborhood. Everyone made it out safely, but sadly a dog was killed in that fire. There's no word yet on how it started. And this morning, the partial federal government shutdown has now entered a third day.
Today in Hartford, healthcare advocates and members of Congress from our state will share their concerns about the potential end of tax subsidies for the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, those subsidies are a key reason why Congress was unable to pass a spending bill so far, and they needed that to keep the government running.
Advocates warn almost 150,000 people will have to spend tens of thousands of dollars more on health care premiums next year if those subsidies are not extended.
And the Senate is expected to vote again today on 2 proposed spending plans that could have a big impact here. A Republican-backed bill would fund the government until November. It has already passed the House. Democrats are pushing for a shorter-term measure that would extend the health care tax credits, but Republicans say that issue should be handled separately. Republicans need support from some Democrats in order to pass the budget bills in the Senate. And today in West Hartford, you'll have a chance to hear more about how people in Connecticut could be impacted if those health care subsidies are not extended. Congressman John Larson is hosting a forum at the Elmwood Community Center this afternoon.
Well, we're also learning Connecticut could lose about $50 million in federal funding for energy projects. The Trump administration is pulling almost $8 billion earmarked for states mostly led by Democrats. Well, the timing is raising questions about whether the White House is trying to punish Democrats for the shutdown. White House officials say the cuts have been months in the making and will save taxpayers money.
Well, today, major developments expected in the case against a former lawmaker and top official who's accused of bribery and extortion.
Jury selection is set to start in the trial of Codis DeMontis, who faces more than 20 federal charges. Your reporter Luke Hydash walks us through what we can expect this morning.
Things will get started here shortly, expected to pick up a little before 9 o'clock this morning. Once the jury is seated and witnesses start to get called, that is expected to be next week. Governor Lamont could be one of them. Today, Costa Diamantis will return to federal court charged with bribery, extortion, and making false statements when prosecutors say he used his political power for wrong. He's accused of steering no-bid contracts to benefit himself and his family when he had control over school construction projects in our state. The man was a lawmaker and worked for the Lamont administration before resigning in 2021. The governor has been subpoenaed and could testify. His office is not commenting this morning. Diamantis' lawyers tried to push today's jury selection back, blaming the government shutdown, but the judge said things will go on as planned. If he winds up being convicted, Diamantis is facing years in federal prison and millions of dollars worth of fines. Your reporter in New Haven, Luke Hydash, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, no school today in Groton as students and staff there pay respects to a longtime teacher and coach. A funeral for Chad Fleming is being held this morning. He passed away unexpectedly last month. He taught at the middle school and also coached youth basketball and volleyball. He's survived by his wife and 2 kids.
This morning, everyone in Waterbury can go back to using tap water normally. City leaders say test results show the water is safe to drink. Some people had to boil their water as a precaution for more than a week after a massive water main break on Huntington Avenue last Tuesday. Well, this morning, police in Waterbury now investigating the death of a man who fell while working on the roof of a home. Police say it happened around noon yesterday on Southview Street. The victim's name hasn't been released yet. In just a few hours, the case against the woman accused of holding her stepson captive for 20 years moves forward.
Kimberly Sullivan is due in Waterbury Superior Court today. Your reporter Roger Suzanne has more on what to expect from today's hearing.
This morning's hearing will really get to the crux of this case. Kimberly Sullivan is accused of imprisoning her own stepson in deplorable conditions for more than 20 years. And now a legal battle is brewing over the victim's medical records. Sullivan's attorney claims prosecutors have not turned over all of the medical records in this case because the victim has decided to change his name for privacy reasons, and the state needs time to redact that new name from those records to protect his anonymity. But Sullivan's lawyer plans to object to that request, arguing that his client is fighting for her life and all of the key information must be released. Both sides are preparing to square off in front of a judge on this issue because the medical records could be the key to the case. Investigators claim Sullivan imprisoned her stepson and tortured him, forcing him to nearly starve to death. Prosecutors say he was just 68 pounds when police finally rescued the victim after he set his Waterbury bedroom on fire in a desperate attempt to escape. And when this hearing gets underway later this morning, of course, Channel 3 will have a camera in the courtroom, and reporters both inside and outside the courthouse will bring you the newest developments as they happen on air and on the WFSB News app. In Waterbury, I'm your reporter, Roger Suzanne, in Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
This morning, parents in Southington say they're concerned about a broken pill capsule containing fentanyl, a deadly drug that was found outside Kelly Elementary School. A staff member found it Wednesday. Students were kept inside Thursday as a precaution, and drug-sniffing dogs were brought in to search the rest of the property. No other drugs were found, but many parents say they were forced to have some difficult conversations with their children.
I was kind of brutally honest with him and, just said, listen, this stuff is bad. It, could potentially kill somebody. And
police are still looking into how that pill ended up near the school. So far, there are no suspects.
Well, this morning, plans are in the works for a new bridge that could cut down on travel time between Connecticut and New York. A 14-mile structure would connect Bridgeport to Long Island. Developers say it could cost up to $50 billion to build. They're also looking at ways to build a train to cut down on pollution. You can hear more about it on CT25 this weekend. It airs at Sunday at 8:30 right here on Channel 3.
Well, big news this morning. The New York Yankees are headed to the American League Division Series, and the Red Sox, unfortunately, are heading home for the offseason.
The Bronx Bombers beat their rivals 4-0 in last night's winner-take-all wild card game at Yankee Stadium. New York starting pitcher, a Massachusetts native, struck out 12 batters over 8 innings.
That's amazing. Well, our state deeply divided when it comes to baseball fandom, and supporters of both teams packed into Murphy's Pub and Sports Bar in Manchester for last night's game. The owner roots for the Yankees, but says he typically serves more Red Sox fans. He's hosted playoff baseball watch parties for almost 20 years now, and he says it's something he always looks forward to doing.